Now, the Squamish Nation Youth Powwow is back this weekend. It starts today at the Humulchiston Village, also known as the Capilano 5 Reserve in West Vancouver. It runs all weekend, and it celebrates Indigenous culture and music and community. And here to tell us more about how he came to be involved in this event is the head chair of the powwow. Simon Baker is with us in studio this morning. Good morning to you.
Thank you. Hochka, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. First off, I'll get you to explain in a minute what happens at the powwow, but I want to know about your involvement in it because you have been a working actor since you were 7 years old. You've got a long list of credits. How did you go from doing that to running a powwow for the last 3 years?
I was a young boy, seeing my auntie Gloria Nahaney Tenalt and her family, Uncle Keith and Kanani and Rhiannon, put this powwow on for our community for so many years. But it brought real pride to me as a young Squamish Nation member, but Cree as well. I grew up with my more teachings with my mother. My mother and father separated at a young age, and I moved away from the Squamish Nation, moved to Langley, spent some time out in Saskatchewan with my mushum, my grandfather, learned some of our teachings and dancing with him. And it was always something that I looked forward to every year when, growing up, knowing that I got to come home and dance in front of my community. And so that brought a lot of pride, but I got to see a little bit of how chaotic, how much work it took to put on a powwow. I never really got to say hi to my auntie much because she was just on the go all the time. But she would come, make sure that she acknowledged me, that I came home. Yeah. She saw me in my regalia, said how proud how proud she was of me to see me in my regalia, and just said, keep dancing, and so that that was always in my mind. I was always seeing her put on this great, amazing powwow. It always, to me, at a young age, I just thought it was so smooth. But now, almost 3 years, 3 years coming up running this powwow, I know how chaotic, how much of a mess, how much, time gets put into it. And everybody from the outside says it looks great, which is awesome. But we know all the hiccups, we know all the bumps, we know, the lost hours of sleep and how much work actually goes into powwow.
Well, that's the cost of making it all look smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
So you did this as a kid. I don't know what to call it. Did you stray away from your own culture at some point?
Yes, I did. Through growing up in front of the camera, the industry, the film industry takes you and molds you, and there's it's a fast-paced life, and I grew up through that. Seven years old in front of the camera, I went and started, and this is a great thing that I'm very appreciative of, that I was I constantly worked throughout my whole career, and that's a blessing. Yeah. Not a lot of actors in the industry can say that. But I constantly worked. I started as a child, grew up as a teen, then went as a young man. And so, all of that took away from, me learning my culture, understanding culture. I was depicting other cultures, but then coming back and not knowing my own culture, not understanding that culture was here. It was a tool for me to sort of ground myself again, So that, being in the industry, I sort of just took off and got involved, and things took off on me.
You also had your share of tragedy as well. Tell me what happened.
Tragedy knocked on my door when I lost my brother. A big connection to Squamish Nation, to who I was. He was my father figure. He was my best friend. He was everything. And I lost him. But when I lost him, something else happened. I the community opened up for me. Community called me back home. You know, I was living in Langley, paying astronomical rent, you know, and struggling with life, struggling with my addictions. And then I got a call home and, you know, saying that I inherited my family home. And the home was there. I have a family. I have a young family. And so I said, yeah, you know, I guess it is time to come home. So I came home going through the ups and downs of grief. And then, you know, I got a phone call from my cousin Kanani, who used to run powwow. And she was going through tragedy as well, going through grief as well, losing her mom. And I said, yeah, hey, cuz, what's going on? And she said, you know, I feel that community needs powwow. We need to bring this powwow back. I'm not able to do it right now, but you know, you're home. I know you're great at planning things. I know, you know, you're going through this as well, but this might be something that you need right now. And I said, you know, once again, I put my head down and my partner, you know, my fiance now, Carmen Moore, who's my co-chair, said, Simon, you know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I said, okay, well, let's pray on it. Let's take a day on it and let's ask the Creator. And I asked the Creator, I said, if this is supposed to happen, you know, let something happen. Obviously, I need some money. It takes a lot to run a powwow, you know, and I don't have it. And so it's funny how the universe and how the Creator comes. I literally got a phone call 2 days later. I just finished a project with Fortis BC. Yeah. And I made a great relationship with the CEO, Roger Dell'Antonio. And I finished a documentary series called The New Energy, which they use internally. So I came in and created this. And I said, he called me, he said, I love what you did. I love, you know, thank you again, Simon. Is there anything that we could do for you? And I said, so on the other phone, you know, he's on this phone, and then I picked up the other phone, and that's the phone to the Creator. And I said, oh, you heard me. You know, and I said, well, yeah, community is asking for the powwow to come back. And could you help me out? And he's like, well, what are you looking for? I said, X amount of dollars. He said, well, let's see. 2 days later, he said, yeah, we're going to come in. We're going to help you. We're going to get this going. And I said, oh, looked at my partner. I said, well, looks like we're going to run a powwow. What? What do you mean? We need to, you know, and she, you know, and that was sort of the evolution of it. And I looked at my partner and saying, you know, would you come and help me out? And she's like, yeah, I guess, you know. And then I asked another great friend who has become, you know, a sister as well, Shannon Henderson, who runs Orange Shirt Society. Yeah. She's the president there. And I said, well, I need you to come help me out. And she said, anything. So I have two great partners in this, Shannon Henderson and Carmen Moore, to come and help me out. And it went from there.
And so here we are now in year 3 of you guys running it. What does it mean to a young person who might be going through hard times of their own right now to be participating in that powwow, to be dancing there?
I think that's the meaning of our powwow. You know, it's the Squamish Nation Youth Powwow. Yeah. You know, my auntie knew that this tool, this way of life of powwow was something more. And that's something that I'm starting to learn too, is this tool, you know, that our ancestors went through all of the hardships, all the atrocities that they had to go through. Why were they fighting so hard? Well, they were fighting for their culture. They were fighting for the language because they knew at some point in time that this was going to ground us. This is the tool that grounds us, brings us back, and we are allowed. This is something that we need to keep growing. And so when we brought this on, we tell our youth, there's more. You know, be proud of who you are. You know, we have a lot of a lot of hardships within our community with our young ones, figuring out, navigating this world of, the social media of what they need to be. Mm-hmm. But really, it's in the backyard already. It's already here for you. You just need to ask for it. You just need to look for it. You just need to, be present for a little bit. And that will come into your life and that will grow with you. So now we don't have the excuse of, we can't learn it.
Yeah.
It's forbidden, It's actually now in our school systems. Yeah. Now we're actually learning our language, learning our culture, and it's going to lead them into something better.
All indications are it's going to be a gorgeous weekend. You got 60 seconds to sell me the powwow.
Powwow, number one for viewers that haven't been to a powwow is that you're welcome. You're allowed to come to our powwow. We want you to come to our powwow. We are an open door. We want to tell you about our culture. We want to share a food with you, share our arts with you. Come be a part of powwow. It's so vibrant. It's such a great, impactful thing. We want to understand you, and we want to share our culture with you. And that's what we want to do. We want to have everybody be a part of our culture. You're our neighbors. We want to live with you. We want to coincide with you. Let's understand each other. Let's break down barriers and see what the future looks like together.
Simon, so great to see you. Thank you so much for coming in, and I'll see you this weekend.
Awesome.
Right,
thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Simon Baker, the head chair of the Squamish Nation Youth Powwow, as you heard, on the Squamish Nation territory in West Vancouver this weekend, 11th, 12th, 13th.